Good day, my fellow members. I would start with the introduction. I am Fikile, the Director of A1 Logistics. Here on my right-hand side, I have Chesne, which is the Internal Auditor of A1 Logistics. On my left-hand side, it's Yu-Nell, who is a member of A1 Logistics. And on that other side, we have Mr. Ronewa, who is our HR practitioner. So today we are meeting with regard to a matter that needs our attention. The agenda of today is Miss Yu-Nell on my left-hand side, has entered into a contract of 50,000 with Watson Supplies. So, without our prior knowledge. So I would like us to discuss if our member had authority to do so, and if our close cooperation A1 Logistics would be liable towards the supplier. And the second part that we are supposed to be discussing with regards to this meeting is, we as members of A1 Logistics have realized that it is no longer possible to register a new close corporation. It is either we convert it to a private company. So brought to my attention is I have made a research based on the advantages and the disadvantages of a close corporation and a private company. And I would like to know if it is possible to convert a close corporation to a private company, and if so, what is it that's required to do so?
Are discussing whether the member has the authority to enter into the contract without our prior knowledge. A member of a close corporation does not require written authority to bind a corporation to a contract unless it's an outside agent, such as an employee. The leading case of Yu-Nell Investments Close Corporation versus Rao and other is a good example of this, and that occurred on the 23rd of May 2014. The members act as agents of the corporation. Therefore, they have authority to act on their own, and this can have the effect of binding the close corporation, unless the authority of the member in question has been restricted and the other party to the transaction knows or ought to know that there has been a restriction. In Section 51, subsection 1 of the Close Corporation Act states, subject to the provisions of this section, any member of a closed corporation shall, in relation to a person who is not a member and in dealing with the corporation, be an agent of the corporation. The outcome of this section is that each member of the closed corporation has the ability to bind the closed corporation in the individual capacity, except for where there is association agreement which states otherwise, or it is expressly dealt with in the terms of the default internal relations rules set out in Section 46 of the Act. Section 46B provides that the member shall have equal rights with regards to the management of the business of the closed corporation, and with regard to the power to represent the closed corporation in carrying on of its business, provide that the consent of a member or members holding a member's interest of at least 75% shall be required for the following fundamental decisions: a change in the principal business carried on by the closed corporation, a disposal of the whole or substantially the whole undertaking of the closed corporation, a disposal of all or greater portion of the assets of the closed corporation, and any acquisition or disposal of immovable property by the closed corporation. Ending, subsection 46B protects the individual members to a degree though, in that 75% or more of the members' interests acting together are required to successfully bind the closed corporation if they wish to give the effect of any of the material changes or substantial recorded in that section.
Today, everyone, I will be discussing whatever A1 Logistics CC will be liable towards the supplier. Members has a fiduciary duty to the close corporation and not to the members. A conduct in breach of a fiduciary duty can lead to a personal liability of members. Close corporation is a legal person. Liabilities of a close corporation belong to the legal person and not to the members. Creditors cannot institute legal action against the members of the outstanding debts of the close corporation, but when law in respect of close corporation is breached, members lose protection offered by the legal personality. Members incur personal liability for the debts of the corporation. The CCX provides joint liability of members where certain provision of the Act have been breached. Section 54(1) of the Act states, any member of a close corporation shall, in relation to a person who is not a member and is dealing with the corporation, be an agent of the corporation. Any act of a member shall bind a corporation where or not such act is performed for the carrying on of the business. Section 40(c)(b) provides that members shall have equal rights with regards to the management of the business of a CC. Members have the authority to act on their own, thus can have the effect of binding the CC unless the authority of that member is in question. Each member of the CC has the liability to bind the CC in their individual capacity unless there is an agreement which states otherwise.
So the advantages of a close corporation is that, as we all know, this close corporation was easy to establish and is very easy to run and to manage. The life of our close corporation is perpetual. We as members have limited liability. The transfer of ownership is easy. The close corporation as a business entity has fewer legal requirements than of a company. And there is no need for a close corporation to be audited. So the disadvantages of our close corporation is that even though we would like to add another member into our close corporation, it is limited to 10 members. And if in cases of whereby we would get a major client, we won't be able to cater for the client's services, as we will need to ask for loans from banks, as of which will lead our close corporation to be audited. So it is also not easy to sell a close corporation, so we will have to convert it into a private company, which will also take time. And every member acts as an agent of the close corporation, and we are bound by the actions that are taken by the members. Just like with the Watson contract, yes, of 50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the advantages and the disadvantages of a close corporation.
I will be looking at whether it's possible to convert from a close corporation into a company. And I looked up and I saw that in terms of Item 2 of Schedule 2 of the Companies Act of 2008, it is possible to convert into a profit company which has shares. For example, a public company, a private company, or a personal liability company. And I also looked at what is it that we need to do in order to convert into a company. And there must firstly be a notice of conversion and the notice must be accompanied by a statement of consent, which must be signed by at least 75% members, which would be 3 of you. And then there must be a memorandum of incorporation, and that it must agree with the requirements of the Companies Act of 2008, and then you must pay a prescribed fee. And then what we need to do to also go to the CIPC and register a company and get a unique customer code.
Okay.
We must also make a deposit. Yeah. We must also deposit funds to convert a close corporation into a company. We will need to deposit 50 rand for name reservation and 125 for company registration. And if we need to convert the close corporation into a company with a customized memorandum of incorporation, then we must deposit 50 rand and 425 rand for company registration with the CIPC bank account. To convert the close corporation of the company, the application to convert must have supporting documents submitted to the CIPC.
Okay.
And then the CIPC, I did a bit of digging, and I saw that the CIPC has stopped registering close corporation in the year of 2009.
Wow.
Years before that, you could register either a close corporation or a private company, but in 2009, the Companies Act of 2008, the two were merged into one, and you can only register a company as a private company.
As we have all discussed our opinions of the agenda of today, my question is, I would like to know from you members, all those who are in favor of the close corporation to be converted into a private company.
Yeah, me as well. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so
Before we do this, we need to decide if we're gonna pay Waltons the remaining balance on the stuff they supplied us.
Okay.
yes.
Are we gonna do that?
I feel
Yeah,
like we should.
before we convert, we have to settle all our debts,
Yes, yeah, all our
with the
creditors.
creditors, and then we can migrate.
Okay, and then we need like 2 more members. I feel like, I don't know if you guys like agree with me, we need 2 more members, like a lawyer and somebody that can do the accounting work for us.
With that one, can't we perhaps maybe think about it? Who we would like to instate within our private company,
Okay.
and discuss it and see who is someone that we can trust, because we just can't take any kind of
Exactly,
order.
and we have to determine whether we have enough funds in order to employ another member.
Exactly, I agree
Okay.
on that one.
Okay.
Yes.